Oh, man. Good evening, everyone. I hope everyone's doing well. I think I'm just about well enough now to start doing videos again. And I know I'm late for this particular one, but obviously Tommy Robinson lost his appeal to have his conditions improved in prison. And at this point, it's pretty obvious that he is now a political prisoner. Shabana Mahmood, being the head of justice, means that he's got absolutely no chance whatsoever of getting out. At least not until his sentence is served. Even less fortunately is obviously there are still people out of the left wing who are going out of their way to slander Tommy. But GB News have also admitted they don't really do any research into him. And I wonder why that is. But there was some absolute tart who went on GB News and with no evidence started calling Tommy Robinson a racist and a thug. Even the guy who said he does no research on Tommy Robinson said to him, even though he's not a fan of him or doesn't know much of him, that if you're going to make these claims, you've got to back it up with evidence, and quite right too. Like if I went out of my way to say Keir the traitor Starmer touches kids and I had no evidence to back that up, that's defamation 101. Keir the traitor Starmer could have me in a court of law, just like that. So for this left-wing ponce to come on to GB News and say, oh, Tommy's a racist and a thug, well, last time I checked, I don't think Tommy was a thug. There was only one time he resorted to violence unlawfully, and that was with the ex-copper, the way I look at it. And we all know the context behind that. But then, hey, don't let us stop the left-wing NPCs from libeling themselves, because the way I look at it, Tommy could literally write up a fucking list of all the people who have libelously slandered him and take every single one of these wankers to task, including Nigel El Farage. Sorry, I mean Nigel Farage. Or maybe I was right first time. A man who is effectively fueled by money, fame, titles, and power. And that is the question that I've got to ask you today. And that is, what fuels you? I know what fueled that wanker up there. Typical lefty NPC shit. But that's the thing with people that can't string together a cohesive argument. They resort to insults. Yeah, sure, I insult people as well, but I at least back up my claims. I usually know what I'm talking about, and I do my research first. But I guess you've got to take the good with the bad. Because as much as I have people that admire what I do, there's obviously going to be some dickhead who thinks he's going to get his 5 seconds in the spotlight by calling me a wanker. But it's all merely projection, as we all know. But what fuels you? What fuels you to do your duty for the country? Is it love and desire for your country? Is it the determination to stop the globalist wankers from taking over? Is it the fact that you want to defend your land from people coming over from third world shitholes? Is it just genuine love? Or is it, like some crooked people, money, fame, and power? It is a question we all have to ask ourselves, as we have to make our intentions clear. There were infiltrators who ended up getting called out because they wanted to pretend they were part of the movement, but, of course, their goals were merely to slander and destroy us. It is my absolute affirmation that Keir the traitor Starmer is fueled by communism, Marxism, globalism, and of course the WEF. And then of course the elephant in the room, which is that of radical Islam. Because after all, why else would Keir the traitor Starmer go out of his way to say, I will do all I can to protect the Muslim community, when Keir the traitor Starmer should be looking after everyone equally? Traitor Starmer is an odious cockroach who is merely fueled by his determination to screw everyone else over while he gets power, fame, money, titles, and of course serves his WEF masters. And what about Mohammed Ziauddin Yusuf, the guy who is the chairman, or one of the chairmen I should say, of Reform, who wasn't voted in by British people or Reform voters, but was put in there because he bought 50% of the Reform company. And while he won't make it pretty obvious where his allegiance lies, I think we all know deep down that it is not towards the British people, since he's running that party like a dictatorship. And in the meantime, Nigel Al-Faraji is willing to be stroke number one at Mohammed Ziauddin Yusuf's lapdog. After all, look what happened to people like Stephen Wolf when he was part of UKIP. Look what happened to Howard Cox. Look what happened to Ben Habib. And most importantly, look what happened to Rupert Lowe and how willing they were to libelously slander him. Yet, there are Reform MPs who went into a meeting with Farage, a conference if you will, and they went straight up and resigned in front of Farage and gave them their reasons. And I suspect none of them were because they weren't getting paid enough. But when you have your own MPs who are willing to stand up in front of you and say, we're leaving effectively because of the treatment of Rupert Lowe and the direction of the Reform Party, you know you have a very big problem. Nigel Al-Faraji wants to believe that there is nothing wrong with the Reform Party right now. And while I do accept that he is a little bit correct in the way that he said, well, none of you have been talking about Ziauddin Yusuf getting abuse and racist remarks and all that, because obviously the media have had a history of not covering anything to do with racism or abuse or what have you when Nigel Farage is the leader of a certain party. So I do give him that much. I'm not unreasonable. I have studied him for some time, and I can safely say that that bit does check out. However, to play the race card, as I said in the last video, is foolish at best, and at worst makes you look like a complete fucking moron at worst. If there's one thing you never ever do, it's pull the race card. David, the Archbishop of Racism Lammy, knows this all too well. Hello again! He knows it all too well, but he can't stop because he's just David Lammy. But Nigel Farage has been in the game long enough, and he should know better. But as I said, Nigel Al-Faraji is fueled purely by wanting titles, by wanting fame, by being the Messiah, basically, and obviously wanting that healthy paycheck. After all, the MP wages have actually risen by about 2.5% or something like that. It's gone up to like 94k a year now, which is more money that a lot of these MPs do not deserve, quite frankly, because a lot of them are just sitting there pissing your taxpayer money up the wall. It's kind of sad when you think about it, because what's one of the things that I said in the past? I said, if they really had this 22 billion black hole, which I suspect doesn't exist, but if they did have this black hole, let's say, for the sakes of argument, and they wanted to try and get some money for that, why not take half the wages out of the MPs? Think about it. They get so many pissing allowances for heating, for food, to live, their basic salary. And yet, who are the ones having to suffer? You and I, the indigenous British people, the taxpayer. Because those wankers in the houses of treachery, sorry, Parliament, or again, maybe I was right first time, they don't want to fork out their good money, which they have been in the business long enough, so surely they should have amassed a large enough amount of money that they can live off. And if they're living in London, hell, why not just live somewhere less affluent? Why not live somewhere which isn't exactly rocked up to the tits in house prices? I'm sure you could get a bungalow or a house somewhere here, I don't know, in Norfolk or somewhere in Bristol or somewhere, that isn't going to cost you an arm and a leg. It would cut down on your rent you have to pay, which means you'd have more money to spend on yourself, which means you could afford to give half of that salary up and give it to people who deserve it. Am I losing my mind here? Am I talking too much common sense? I mean, even Keir the traitor Starmer doesn't get paid as much as some of these treacherous MPs do, who, as I said, don't even deserve the vast majority of the money they get, quite frankly. They had plenty of money to send off to Terry's over in Syria. They had plenty of money to house illegal immigrants that have no legal or human right to be here. They've built, like, what, 1.5 million homes? And they're allocating them all to the illegals. But I believe that housing should belong to the British people first. And for those especially the veterans, since they have been given so much abuse on our streets by our treacherous politicians and governments over the last 20, 30 fucking years. But we all know what fuels those treacherous wankers. Money and power. They'll never want to give up the gravy train. And to be honest, can I really wholly blame them? Not really. I mean, would I really want to give up 50 grand of my salary to basically help other people? Well, actually, yes, I would. You know why? Because there are people who need it far more than I do. Like, I could be happy on, like, I don't know, 35, 40k? I'm not asking much. 35, 40k a year, I think would do me more than nicely. I'm not exactly the sort of person who goes out and spends it on football. I'm not the sort of person who goes out drinking, because I don't drink alcohol. Anybody remember the Torremolinos story that I did? Oh yeah, 11 years old, and I'm already downing cocktails like you wouldn't believe. Like, I don't need to spend money on all that shit. The only real thing I spend my money on right now is the bare essentials and video games. That's it. That is my one guilty pleasure. I am too much of a gamer. And I'm pretty sure our MPs don't do that much that they could say, you know what, we can't live without this money. They spend their money on fucking luxuries. They piss the money up the wall, just like the BBC do. But of course the mainstream media won't tell you this. You know the drill, folks, because say it with me, it doesn't suit the narrative. As I've also said before, if we stop spending our money abroad, if we stop spending our money to help other countries or to deliver foreign aid and what have you, like all that money that we send off to foreign aid, and obviously to Terry's as well in Syria, if we clawed that back, if we pulled that out entirely, we'd have so much more money to support our infrastructure, to support our NHS, to support schools, to support all manner of different things, rather than piss the taxpayer money up the wall by giving it to countries who are neither grateful nor appreciative of what we give these people. Because that's the cold, bitter truth more than anything. A lot of these countries that get our money, do we get a thank you in return? Very rarely, if ever. And I'll tell you now, the people that we should be focusing on is us. The British people come first. Bollocks to everyone else. We look after ourselves, and when we are able to stand on our own 2 feet, and we are in a position where we are genuinely capable of helping others, then and only then do we start giving out our money. Like, picture this scenario. You live in a house and you've got 4 days worth of food and water and what have you inside your house. And then somebody comes along and says, we're going to give 5 days of your food and water over to Eritrea or something so that they can live better. You'd be livid, because that's your living that they're taking away from. That's the way to look at it. Our government, as I said, is pissing our taxpayer money up the wall and making us suffer for it. Everyone else who comes over here is getting the red carpet treatment. And what do we get? We get a cardboard box, effectively. And we get told, you can sit out in the street and rot. And for some people, that is literally their reality. They have to sit there in the freezing fucking cold, especially in winter, and some of these people don't make it through winter. Some of them perish. Our women and children are being violated, and yet we're supposed to be celebrating this bullshit Heritage Month of, like, they want to put Muslim Heritage Month in there. I mean, you couldn't make it up. Especially when you consider that 84% of all grooming gang cases, or rape gang cases to put it bluntly, 84% of them are predominantly committed by Pakistani Muslim men. I tell you what, if I heard about this and they were saying, we want to put Muslim Heritage Month up in Norwich, I'd be telling them to sling their fucking hook, quite frankly. The day I start praising this heritage that they don't have is the day I grow a massive beard, wear one of those things on my head and start reading from the Quran. It ain't going to happen. Like, the way I look at it is, if you expect me to celebrate the heritage of a group of third world barbarians that their only objective is to come over here and spread the caliphate and wants to dominate the world, if you want me to celebrate their heritage, I'll tell you to fuck off right now, because that is my literal response. Last time I checked, this is built on Judeo-Christian heritage, this country. And I'm not even a holy person. I'm not even a holistic believer of Christianity. I certainly say Jesus Christ enough though, don't I? Anyway, I'm not even a holy person, but I understand that this country was built by Christian people. And don't worry, I'm sure the man upstairs will strike me down at some point sooner or later to punish me for all the times I've used the Lord's name in vain. But we know what fuels Islam. Domination. Causing others to submit to their cause. To submit to their so-called religion of peace. That's what they want. That's what fuels them. I'll tell you what fuels me. Determination, wanting justice, patriotism, and passion for my country. I don't need people's money. I don't need people to tell me that I'm doing the right thing. Although it does make me feel nice at the end of the day, don't get me wrong. I do this because I believe in this country. I want my country back from all the dictators, or yet again, maybe I was right first time, that are running in the houses of treachery, or the people that want to take over this country from their third world shithole death cults. And I want this country to be in a position where we are robust and we are respectful, but firm and fair against anybody who wants to come over here and disrespect us, violate our cultures, violate our laws. If anybody wants to come over and basically not respect us, that we show them the door and we kick them out of the country, just like that. And this is a famous one that I use a lot. If I went to another country, let's say I went to Finland, and I wanted to migrate over there, live there permanently, I would be expected by the Finnish people to start what I'm doing. Anyway, I would expect them to, they would expect me to find a job, respect their cultures, respect their beliefs, respect their societies, and not cause trouble. Well, I'll have a hard time doing that, considering every time I take a step, I'm causing a fucking 3.2 earthquake. But jokes aside, I would be expected to follow their customs. Likewise, anybody that comes to our country, whether legal, well, if they come over here legally, we expect them to abide by our customs. Anybody that's over here illegally, they shouldn't be getting the red carpet rolled out. They should be basically facing the barrel of a gun, told to turn around, get back on the boat they came in, or the aircraft, and basically go back to their country of origin, as they are not welcome here, as they have effectively entered the country illegally. And I wouldn't give two shits about what is going on out in the world, unless they could prove beyond any reasonable doubt that they aren't just some scumbag wanting to make a life for themselves and want to sponge off society or commit crime, what have you. If they were a genuine refugee, then yeah, maybe we could consider it. But we can't go and accept every single person that comes over here. That's the cold bit of truth. We can't sit here and say, yeah, we'll accept unlimited people and we'll accept as many people that can come over here. Angela Merkel made that mistake, and look what happened to Germany. Do I care about genuine refugees and children fleeing war? Yes, I do. I don't think you'll see one person in this country who doesn't want to see children safe, who doesn't want to see women from another country with their children safe. But we can't keep making that excuse. And what we have to understand is a lot of the people that are coming over on the boats, they are not mostly women and children. They are mostly fighting age men from usually the Middle East. But again, this is something the mainstream media are not going to want to tell you. The lot of these people, or the vast majority of these people I should say, are not coming over here because they are genuinely fleeing war. They are not coming over here because they feel that they are in danger. A lot of these people are coming over here to invade Britain. The front door didn't work when, obviously, that left-wing socialist tried to take over the world and make everyone speak German, and I think you know who I mean. But the front door didn't work, so now we've got these people coming in and trying the back door. It is why we need the Navy, we need the Army at the borders of our country, ready to turn these people back. But of course, Keir the traitor Starmer doesn't have the balls, whether up here or down there, or in my case both, to be able to make that tough decision. Thank you. We all know that Keir the traitor Starmer has about as much spine as a herd of frogs, all the credibility of a second-hand bank clerk, and is as welcome in this country as a nonce in a nursery. And if you look to our right just here, we've got some two-tier police. And I'm not afraid to say that, because until such time as the police get their shit together, then I am going to refer to them as the two-tier police. But much like Keir the traitor Starmer, we know what fuels the police as well. What fuels the police is DEI. We know that they pander to Islam while putting down an iron fist towards anybody who isn't of a BAME, or black, Asian, or ethnic minority. They'll bend over backwards for them, but the indigenous white British person, you'll be lucky if you see them turn up to your house after a burglary. They're not interested in going after murderers and rapists and terrorists. However, if you post something on Facebook, you'll have 10, 20 coppers come round your house and kick your fucking door down. Just like that. And to the police directly, if that's not what fuels you, tell me, what does? What fuels you? But I'd love for these people to prove me wrong. I'd like for these people to showcase that they are not the wankers that I perceive them to be. I would love for them to tell me, no, Matthew, you've got it wrong. We aren't as bad as you think we are. And then actually provide evidence. I'm breaking the surface tension. God damn it. Should have looked at the glass. Anyway, I'd love for people to come out and prove me wrong. To prove to me that they haven't sold their souls to the devil. That they haven't sold out their morals for a little bit of cash and a title. I'd love for these people to come out and say, you know what? No, we do love our country, and you've got it wrong. But of course, the vast majority of these people won't ever do that. Because the cold, bitter truth is, a lot of these people have already made their decisions. They have decided the wind is blowing one direction, and they all want to follow it in that direction. Even if it means they lose their principles, they lose their dignity, they lose their integrity. There are stories that I could cover that really are the pinnacle of people selling themselves out for a little bit of cash and basically degrading themselves in the worst manners possible, quite frankly. I could go out of my way to do that, but I'm not here for those stories. I'm here to discuss the here and now and discuss the politics. Is there a light at the end of the tunnel? Yes, there is. 100%. There are people out there who have got morals, who have got integrity, who haven't sold themselves out for a little bit of this. Yes, I do have my PayPal in the description below of almost every video I do. I do accept that. However, am I sitting here going out of my way with a begging bowl and saying, please sir, spare some change? No, I'm not. Because my principles come first. And here's another pro tip for you as well. And I'm not doing this because I want to sponsor HelloFresh all the bloody time. But I'll tell you what would be prudent. This chicken korma that I'm going to be making tonight is a good little bit of friendly advice. Start learning to cook. I mean, if a fat fuck like me can do it, who lazers around and plays video games most of the bloody day can do it, you can too. That's the way I look at it. If somebody like me, who looks like two people, probably is getting closer to 20 stone because of the portions and I don't have anybody to bloody share this with, can do this on a daily basis or an almost daily basis, you can too. Because I'll tell you one thing, a lot of people have gotten lazy and a lot of people have gotten complacent. So when they want to have a curry, their first thought is, oh, whip the phone out, dial the number, I'd like a takeaway, please. I was in that same fucking boat. I'd have takeaways almost every fucking day. And I'm dead serious. I was pissing my money up the wall at points on food. Not anymore. And I am saving an absolute metric shit ton by not ordering takeaways anymore. I am saving myself so much money, and once I come off this HelloFresh stuff, I'm still going to be using these recipes. I'm going to be buying the damn ingredients down here. I know you can't see them because obviously I'm holding it like 50 miles away, but I can then buy these ingredients, go online and say, I'd like a bunch of that please, order the ingredients, come over here, cook my food. I'm eating a lot healthier. It will do you a world of good. And the other thing as well, I may not be doing it yet, because obviously I need to build myself up to it, is if you can, exercise. Go to the gym. Do swimming. Do tennis. Do something you like. Do something that makes you feel nice, makes you feel happy, and is good for you. Because I'll tell you right now, I suspect, because I can't perform the art of mitosis, and I have to rely on this, and a little bit of this on the side, the breaststroke, jokes aside, but if I start doing this more and more, this, instead of being like this, is going to be more like this. I won't be a stick figure, I grant, but I'll be a damn sight healthier. And you can be too. There needs to be something that fuels you. There needs to be something that says to you, you've got a duty to do. Get out there and fight for it. Find out what it is. Find out what's burning inside you, other than last night's curry. Find out what is driving you forward. And I'm not talking about the Mitsubishi parked outside. I want you to find what drives you forward. What drives you to do what you want to do, to fight for your country, to fight for your Judeo-Christian heritage, to fight for your very lives. Find out what it is. Let that be your fuel. Every journey has an end. And the journey is never in question. Only the route you take to get there. Down to us now. Right now, this country is on the verge of collapse. This country is on the verge of civil war. That's the cold, bitter truth. It may not be avoidable, but we can at least prepare ourselves to be in the best frame of mind for it. And let me be clear, I am not advocating for violence. I am not advocating for a violent revolution in any way, shape or form. I never have, I never shall, and I never goddamn will. But what I will say is if it does come and you have to defend yourself, you must make sure you're able to. Because do you think criminals will care if you're pleading for your life? Do you think the invaders will care for you when they are sitting there, machetes in hands or guns in hand, hacking you down or spraying you down? No, they won't. That's the cold, bitter truth. And your government will not protect you. Your government will hang you up to dry. It's as simple as that. We cannot rely on Keir the traitor Starmer. We cannot rely on the Nonce Party, Labour Party. Or yet again, maybe I was right first time. We cannot rely on the career politicians who are in it for fame, titles, money, and the like. We have to be able to rely on ourselves. Find what fuels you, use it, and let it carry you to victory.